Good evening to you and a warm welcome to News at Prime. We start here. At least 7 people have died in the Eastern Cape province, and this is due to a cold front and cut-off low affecting the entire country. The province has been hit hard by floods, disruptive snowfall, including some heavy rains that have damaged or that have followed with damaging winds, with multiple weather warnings also being in place until midnight. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema is live for us in East London this hour, and we also have Yamkela Mtshiyo, who is in the Butterworth area. To both my colleagues, good evening to you. Let me start with you, Sipha. The understanding is that you are going to be in conversation with the Premier of the province. But before that, take us through some of the developments there today. A scholar transport that was affected, and do we know where or in which areas are these 7 deaths that have since been reported?
Absolutely, Goli. Now, we were supposed to have a conversation with the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, but unfortunately he's still locked in a meeting at the Eastern Cape Legislature. However, with the latest developments, as you have given that various warnings, weather warnings are still in place in the Eastern Cape. We're talking about orange alert level 6, Goli, still in place for most parts of the Eastern Cape. Now, the areas that have been hit the hardest, we're looking at OR Tambo, where 7 of those fatalities so far have been confirmed. But also the 22-seater scholar bus that was swept away in the early hours of this morning, Oli, is also in the OR Tambo district. It was swept away when the Ifata bridge in Mthatha had collapsed due to the heavy rains, as well as the flooding that is happening because of the level 6 weather that the Eastern Cape is experiencing. Now, it's not just the heavy rains at Goli, but also snowfall is still anticipated to continue falling in most areas, like roads like the R61 between Mthatha and Ngobo has been closed. The N2 towards Kokstad as well. It's also has been heavily affected with snow. And areas like the Wappertsburg Pass, where near the N10, where we were also stuck for over 8 hours last night up until the early hours of this morning, just before 7 a.m., where there was heavy congested traffic, is open, but with caution, and they're not allowing heavy trucks such as the ones that were closing the roads last night and in the early hours of this morning to pass through that area. It's only the lighter vehicles. Now, the areas that are most severely affected by these floods, as mentioned, OR Tambo has infrastructure damage, but also the 7 lives that have been lost. Now, from that 23-seater scholars transport, Goli, 3, we have confirmed that 3 of those school learners have been rescued, but an unaccounted number is still missing. But the search and rescue continues to look for the rest of those pupils. But we will continue to look out for the weather, although here in East London, it has sporadic rain. It is now, no infrastructure has been damaged, no reports of flooding. It seems to start mostly just when you leave the East London or the Buffalo City area towards the Great Kai municipality, where a number of people from Morgan's Bay and Kai Mouth have been evacuated into community halls for preventative measures, as they are part of those that are staying in low-lying and flood-prone areas. And then when you move to Muma, Butterworth, where my colleague Yamkela is, the water treatment plant there is also affected. So they've asked residents to ensure they conserve water, as the area at that particular treatment plant is heavily affected and flooded.
Sipha Kema, live for us in East London. You heard her making reference to Yamkela Mtshiyo. At least 200 people are being accommodated at a community hall in the Skiet informal settlement. This is near Butterworth CBD. This is after heavy rains lashed parts of that area, flooding homes. Yamkela, good evening to you. Let's understand the situation where you are. you're still in that community hall that is housing many of the people that have been displaced in their homes. What is the next step from not only the people but also the authorities? Have they been talking about that situation?
Thank you so much, Dolly. Good evening to you as well. Hopefully you are able to hear us clearly because it is quite noisy in here. But to answer your question, Dolly, the municipal officials are continuing to bring in more people. The rain is still continuing. And there are people who are still coming in as I am speaking to you right now, are still being placed inside this Butterworth town hall. There are also other walls that are being utilized. For example, the one that is in Cuba and also the one that is in Skiet. They are also being used to house these residents here that have been affected by flooding. Just a few minutes before you came to us, you saw the residents lining up to get some food. They have been given bread and soup just to stay warm. But right now, let me bring in one of the residents who has been affected. Nwandisile Ndana. Nwandisile, thank you so much, Mama, for joining us. Khawusixelele ngemeko epha kwendawo sibakho.
Imeko esikuyo siphansi kwayo namhlanje ekuseni sivuswe ekuseni ngofo uvuswa ukuthi sikhwaza nasiphuma umlambo ugcwele okuphuphuma ngamanzi sisaphuma ezindlini ematyotyombeni xa siphuma ematyotyombeni amanzi angena ezindlini ayaqabela isimo esikuso abantwana bazaya esikoleni abakwazi esikoleni amanzi angena ezindlini asikwazi ke nokhupha impahla siphume kunjalo sinjengoba sinjalo savala ezindlini amanzi abedade ezindlini ematyotyombeni abeqabela amanzi engayekanga saphumela ngaphandle ezindlini.
Umasipala uthi kudale enizamela indawo ningabantu baseSkieti obana nihlale khona ngoba ikhuselekanga leni kuyo ngoku. Ingaba mhlambi kutheni lento ningafuni ukuhamba eSkieti okanye?
Into eyayibangela uba singafuni uthi umasipala xa uza sisusa akatshongo ukuthi uvela sesithi uyasisusa engeso sigqibo asigqibe nomhlanga bimele uba xa esithi umasipala le ndawo sihlala kuyo ayikhuselekanga uqala azothatha isivumelwano emhlaleni asicacisele sihlala phaya eSkieti sinabantwana abantwana bayafunda kwizikolo ezikufutshane sihlala eSkieti ngenxa asiphangeli silungisela ukuseva siye ngenyawo edolophini vuke siye edolophini abanye banezitende abanye banetroli abanye abasebenzi basebenza emagonyeni into ebangela basihlalele phaya eSkieti athi ke ngoku umasipala xa isisusa akasisizindlini usisusa ngalamatyotyombe sihleli kuwo funeke siqhaqha lamatyotyombe atsha yonke lemihla aboleyo adlakadlaka siphinde sowabethela la kude nedolophi yiyo eyanto bangeba singakufuni ukusuka kuba lokhu usisusa ngalamatyotyombe wethu akasisizindlini kuba besisusa ematyotyombeni asize ezindlini siphume etyotyоmbeni elibuhlala kuyo uphinde uyobethelela ityotyombe eliqopho kwezo sikhonkwane ekudala izinki lisitsha ekudala libolile awuyindlini uyohlala babe sisezindlini ngekubhetele siyohlala ke ngoku ematyotyombeni kula wethu siza kwakha ngalamazinki besihleli ko abolileyo sesona sizathu sabangela uba singahambi sinabantwana sizabathina abantwana sebesezikolweni akakliniki funeke sikufutshane esidolophini funeka sikufutshane ezikliniki funeka abantwana bekufutshane ezikolweni asikwazi uba kude neekliniki nezikolo sesona sizathu sibalulekileyo kuthi.
Right, there you have it, Tony. There is Nwandisile Ndana, one of the residents who is saying that she is against moving from Skieti to the land that has been made available by the municipality, saying that for starters, that land is too far from where they are because the reason they are next to the CBD is because they want to have access to every services that is in the CBD. Also, they are working here for themselves and they are having children who are studying closer to town. So if they move to that land, it's going to be very difficult for them to survive. One also saying that the municipality is not giving them houses to stay. So being told to move their material and rebuild their own shacks in that place is not going to work for them.
Yamkela, Mtshiyo, thank you very much indeed for that update, talking to us from Butterworth. It's a part of the Eastern Cape province, and let's apologize for the noise. I'm sure you will be able to understand. It is a community hall, or at least a town hall, she has described it as, and it is packed with people displaced tonight because of the flooding. Young children are part and parcel of the people that are crammed in that hall.